So now, I think we all have to come back up here. I don't know, we'll find out from Pam if we have enough time to do a question and answer dialogue-y thing, but even if we don't, everyone come up, or everyone who was in the shadow, not everyone. I don't think we could all pay. And yay, we did it! We have 15 to 20 minutes left. Yay! So, we haven't done this before. Do we have any idea? I mean, should I just
ask us things, we talk great.
Yeah. And if you want to come up here, I can hold the mic and you can speak into the mic maybe. If you want your questions heard, does that make sense?
That one's gorgeous. We can pass it around.
Okay.
Run around with it.
Okay, I'll do the running around. Do you guys want to use this one up here for audience response? Or performer's response? I'm getting our roles confused. Does anyone have any questions? We give away 27 bonus points for the first question, and that goes to you.
I'm part of a nonprofit that supports queer cartoonists called Prism Comics, and my question is, if any of you are doing comics, would you please come talk to me?
I mean, okay, but you hear how it is for me. I think I called it an ink-stained hell, but I will talk to you.
I read a lot of comics, so that's so there. So.
Okay, I guess we'll do next question then. Yes.
I just want to keep things moving, so it may take me a minute to come up with a question. Marlene?
Don't you dare. This is my former mother-in-law.
Yes. So. Okay. How much has the world changed in the last, since the early 90s? Obviously around this.
Big fucking question.
I can't hear you from the back.
How about now? Okay. That's a really big fucking question, and I don't really know how to answer it. One small piece, things like this happen. And this room is full. And that's hugely different. One thing that kind of stands out for me is, I don't know if everybody in this room let's give a little introduction. In my capacity as Director of Collections at the Center for Sex and Culture Archive, there's an organization, or there was an organization called SEMWA, which was a foundational lesbian SM organization in the early 80s in San Francisco. And there were many people in that organization who would not have been comfortable with the fact that I, a trans woman, now am responsible for all of their papers.
Okay, thank you. So we have someone back here who's going to ask. If you do have a question, keep your hand raised and I'll come try to find you. Okay, so.
Unfortunately, I wasn't present for all of the performances. I came in late. But I was curious if you could talk about the meaning in your performance, Miss with the black hoodie on. when you were pouring the wastewater into your mouth? Like the meaning of that?
Yeah, I think Stanley Kubrick said that you're not supposed to explain your own art. But since you're asking me directly, of course I will. To me, it was kind of about like my progression of learning and getting close to trans women, and about how the love that I have for them like spread through me, and how it has that the kinds of relationships that I have evolved over time.
Haha! Oh my god, that's really loud. Okay. This is for the whole panel. My name is Annie. I come to and perform at a lot of events about trans women and queer women sharing space or not sharing space. I feel like they are predominantly sob stories. It's always sad, it's always a wreck, it's always these are the hard parts, and these are the hard parts, and these are the hard parts, because no one fucking sees our hard parts. And that's not a pun on purpose. And Sadie sees our hard parts. And tonight was not overwhelmingly bummers. There was a lot of positives, and I'm thrilled about that. And there was more laughing than there tends to be, and it wasn't self-effacing laughing. That's thrilling to me, and it kind of is one of the things I think about constantly when I think about where does this narrative go now? Like where at this point in time, when it's no longer the early 90s or the late 80s, when there aren't the same sandy stones in our lives, what do we need now? Because there's still a desire and a burning need to tell these sob stories. How do we move forward? What do you guys think we need next?
Hi, that's wonderful, actually. I was running through my first piece tonight with my wife, who is in the front row, and she was like, that's a lot nicer than I expected. Because, as you know from performing in Girl Talk last year, I will frequently do the hyper-sincere wail of pain. We know me. And I realized in the last year that I've covered that ground, and I think a lot of us have, and that we have, in a lot of ways, allowed our community to be defined by what is done to us. And we have defined ourselves by what is done to us, by what systems of gender have done to us, by what oppressive society has done to us, by what people have done to us as individuals. And we've let being trans be about things that are imposed on us and not what we are. And I think part of that is that it's really scary to make positive statements about what and who we are, because we don't want to break coalition by saying things that are true about ourselves that other people don't necessarily hold in common. Because frequently the only people who are making definitive positive statements about who and what we are the people who hate us. And because so much has been done to us, and I think it's finally time to get theological about it. I think it's time to start saying where we fit in the world. It's about saying that we are holding up part of the arch of the sky, that we are here, and that we are somebody. We're not deficient cis people, we're successful trans people, that we're not, that we're not just not less than, that we're also just not regular, that we're not privileged, that we're not cis people, that we are something that is good and bad, that we are something. And so I really think part of the way forward is to start saying who we are, each of us. We all have our different perspectives. I really appreciated what you said about small towns. These are unironic cowboy boots. I come from a town with tumbleweeds and gun racks and a lot of scenery. And that's true, and we need to let all these truths be true, and that's sort of where I stand on it. So I don't know if anyone else.
Is this working?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that it's definitely interesting looking at the negative versus the positive. And I always love positive modeling rather than complaining about the negative, which is important. But I really like having fun, and somehow that you get burned out less. And I think one of the things that we really need and are beginning to get is sex. That's why I was so happy to make my film doing it ourselves because I think that so often there's this push to not let trans women be a part of the sexual aspects of queer women's community. And that so long as that is true, we're going to be second-class citizens at best. And I think that happens so often out of just weird assumptions people make. Like I've heard people say, oh, I'm attracted to trans men, but not trans women. And I'm like, have you ever talked to a trans woman for more than 90 seconds? And, you know, half the time they haven't. And so, you know, I'm kind of happy to be like, here's pictures of trans women having sex. Is that hot? Oh my.
I just wanted to quickly say that I started writing a piece that had to do with the similarities that trans women and sex workers, like the kind of stigma that we get about being like the wrong kind of woman and stuff like that. But it was a fucking bummer. And I decided that what I really wanted, like what I really felt and wanted to was to celebrate trans women, and especially some of the ones that I've had the privilege to love. So that's why I wanted to like do a not bummer piece.
My life is fucking awesome. I had a really fucking hard year. My life is still fucking amazing. And like, I don't think I could come up on this stage and talk about, you know, I could come up here and talk about some of the hard things and, you know, leave here feeling terrible and just sort of like the Charlie Brown, like, like walk. But it's like, I want to talk about the great stuff. Like, that's what I want to talk about. Like, you know, and it feels extra special when we get to do that. Like, you know, you're not the only person who's doing that. When there's, you know, other people who are like, oh, yeah, I have awesome stuff going on too, and it's like, well, cool. Like, isn't it great to be us? Yeah. There's that. I think also, you know, like, I have this sort of pet theory that what's going on with, you know, where trans women are at sort of at the moment has a lot in common with what was going on with, like, you know, sort of like feminism for cis women in the like late 60s, early 70s. Like there's still like all of this, you know, work that has to be done that we're just not quite like caught up to speed. And that, you know, manifests in a lot of ways in my zine. Like why I wanted to do it like paper and, you know, blue is because like that's what it should look like, because that's kind of where we're at. I think also that, you know, some of where we're at is like we're at the place where it is time to start talking about the things that make us happy and, you know, all the awesome shit about our lives.